What's going on, everybody? Khalip's Tech here, coming back at you with another video. In this video, we're going to be doing a quick comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A04s and the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. Now, as always, if you do end up wanting to learn more about either phone individually, definitely check out the description, where I am linking to several other videos about them, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But with that being said, let's get into it. So with the Samsung Galaxy A04s, we're getting a 6.5-inch 90Hz PLS LCD display with a 720p resolution, a PPI of 270, and a 20:9 aspect ratio. With the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, we're getting a 6.5-inch 90Hz PLS TFT display. This phone also has a 720p resolution, a PPI of 270, and a 20:9 aspect ratio as well. So in pretty much every way, these displays are almost exactly the same. Similar display technology, they're both around 6.5 inches, both have 720p resolutions that look pretty good despite only being 720p, and they both have 90Hz refresh rates, which is going to make the movement on the screen a bit faster and smoother. So overall, these phones are going to feel a bit more premium to use than your average entry-level device. So in general, no matter which one you get, if you're doing some light content consumption like watching the occasional video every now and then, maybe browsing the web, using social media, stuff like that, while not having the most amazing displays compared to a much higher end device. For more entry-level phones, we are getting some pretty good displays here. For storage, both phones are getting 64GB of internal storage with microSD card expansion. So for more affordable phones, definitely a good amount of storage. On one hand, if you're more of a power user, if you're someone who's constantly downloading a bunch of different apps, games, stuff like that, then you might want even more than 64GB. But for the average user, as long as you're mindful of what you're putting on your phone and you make sure to use a microSD card whenever you can, 64GB is going to be perfectly fine. For security features, both phones do have Face Unlock, and they both have fingerprint scanners right here on the power keys. So definitely a great spot for a fingerprint scanner. But starting with the Samsung Galaxy A04s, let's give the fingerprint scanners a try. There we go. One more time. And there we go. And now for the A13 5G. There we go. One more time. And there we go. So as you can see, they were both real fast and responsive. And again, remember, both phones do have Face Unlock too, so if you want to use that instead, you always can. Now taking a look at the camera setups here, in general, these phones have pretty much the same features. Up front, both have the same water drop notch design for the selfie camera. Both cameras are 5 megapixels. Then on the back, both phones have triple camera setups with 50 megapixel main cameras, 2 megapixel macro cameras, and 2 megapixel depth sensing cameras. So in general, feature-wise, as you can see, these phones are pretty much the same. And for being more entry-level devices, I do think the camera setups here are pretty good. The only disappointing thing is, unfortunately, neither phone has an ultra-wide camera, but considering it's definitely not a rare thing in this price range, there are plenty of phones like these that don't have ultra-wide cameras either. It's not really that big a deal, but if you do like to get those wider angle photos, then definitely keep this in mind all the same. But aside from this, both phones do have macro cameras, so you can get nice close-up detailed images, and with 50 megapixel main cameras, you can definitely expect some good photo quality too. To give you an idea of what they can do, first, here's some pictures taken with the Samsung Galaxy A04s. Overall, especially considering this is definitely more of an entry-level phone. In fact, as far as the newer Samsung phones go, this is pretty much their lowest end phone. So considering that, again, definitely great photos here, and it really goes to show that if you want to take nice photos, you really don't have to spend a bunch of money on a higher end device. You can simply get something like this, and essentially for more functional use, it's pretty much going to do the same kind of thing. For something like Instagram, for example, yeah, obviously a much more expensive phone is going to take better photos in general, but I feel like to the average user, the quality we're getting with the Samsung Galaxy A04s is definitely going to be good enough. And then here's some pictures taken with the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, and honestly, between the two, I wouldn't really say one is significantly better than the other. So just keep in mind, if you are looking for a more affordable phone that does have a nice camera that takes great photos, then really you're not going to go wrong with either one here. Now when it comes to RAM and processor, with the Samsung Galaxy A04s, this phone is getting 4GB of RAM with the Exynos 850 processor. With the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, this phone also has 4GB of RAM with the MediaTek Dimensity 700 5G processor. So probably the most apparent difference here is that with the A04s, this is a 4G phone, whereas of course, the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G is obviously a 5G phone. So if you do want 5G connectivity, then of course you are going to want to go with the A13 5G. That being said though, when it comes to overall performance, sure there is a difference, and overall, the A13 5G is the faster of the two, but honestly the difference really isn't that huge, despite having the MediaTek Dimensity 700, which in my experience is typically a pretty fast processor. With the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, honestly, this phone just really doesn't feel very fast. On the other hand though, with the A04s, despite honestly being a pretty low-end phone, I have found the performance on this phone to be actually pretty good. So again, while technically the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G is a bit faster, it's really not by that much. So if you're really doing more basic activities and you don't need anything crazy fast, the A04s is going to be perfectly fine. And on the other hand, if you are going to be on your phone a lot, maybe doing more demanding activities, then with the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, although it is going to handle things a little bit better than the A04s, if you really want a fast phone, you're probably going to want something faster than this. Now I did run benchmark tests on both phones using Geekbench 5. And here are the results I got. So again, between the two, the A13 5G is definitely faster, and of course it does have 5G connectivity, which is something to think about too. But at the same time, just performance-wise, the A04s really isn't that far behind. So in general, if performance isn't really that important to you, and you really just need something decent that works, then either phone will get the job done. But of course, if you want 5G connectivity, and you want the faster phone between the two, you are going to want to go with the A13 5G. Now these phones do have the exact same battery, having 5000 mAh batteries, supporting 15-watt fast charging, so definitely a great battery here. Honestly, in this price range, or really any price range for that matter, aside from the fast charging, you're really not going to get much better than this. I know there are some phones outside the US that have like 6000 mAh batteries, but as far as US phones offered by US carriers, I haven't seen that. So if you are looking for a phone that has really good battery life, either device here is going to be a great choice. Now when it comes to the software, both phones do have Android 13, and knowing Samsung's software support, you can also expect several other major updates in the future. That being said though, with the Samsung Galaxy A04s being about a year newer, this phone is going to get one extra update, but all the same, the software support for the A13 5G is still great, so compared to pretty much every other non-Samsung phone, it definitely still is going to be good if you want the latest version of Android. Now one thing I do want to point out here is that with the Samsung Galaxy A04s, in case you didn't know, as of the recording of this video at least, this could change in the future, but as of right now, this phone is not officially launched in the US, so if you do want to get it, you are going to have to get it factory unlocked. Now to be fair, it's really not that expensive, definitely still an affordable device, but on the other hand, with the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, despite the A14 5G being out now, several carriers like Cricket for example still do offer this phone, and they do have some pretty good deals on it, so most likely when it comes to which one is more affordable, depending on your situation, you're probably going to find some better deals on the A13 5G, but all the same, keep in mind, even factory unlocked, the A04s is definitely affordable. Another thing I do want to point out is that with the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G, this phone does have NFC, whereas unfortunately, the Samsung Galaxy A04s doesn't. Now this is honestly really too bad because at this point in 2023, I was really hoping to see more and more affordable phones that have NFC, since after all, tap and pay, which you do need NFC to use, is becoming so much more popular and widely used. I mean, very few stores I've been in this year don't have some sort of tap and pay. And even if you don't use it right now, it's always nice to at least have the option to use it in the future. And because of this, getting NFC in your phone is definitely nice. So if you do want this option, then I would definitely go with the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. But on the other hand, I know some people don't see themselves ever using NFC. So if that's you, the A04s is probably going to be just fine. But in conclusion, which of these phones is better? In general, in a lot of different ways, these phones are honestly almost the same. They have essentially the same display, same battery, same amount of storage, the exact same camera, and even when it comes to the overall design, they honestly really look the same too. That being said though, in a couple different ways, I would say the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G is still a better device. First of all, as the name suggests, this phone does have 5G connectivity, which at this point in 2023, this is definitely becoming more of a standard. In addition to this, despite not really being that much faster, it is a bit faster. So if you're going to be on your phone a bit more, you will have a better experience because of this. In addition to this, again, the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G also does have NFC, whereas unfortunately, the A04s doesn't. That being said though, again, since the A04s is a bit newer, it is going to have slightly longer software support. So if that is more of an important factor for you, and maybe you don't really care about performance or 5G connectivity or NFC, and you just want to get one really simple phone and keep it for as long as you can, then in that case, the A04s might have a bit of an advantage there. But honestly, in pretty much every way, including the value for the money, because again, in the US, you're probably going to get a much better deal with the A13 5G anyway. So yeah, in most cases, I would say the A13 5G is still the better device here. But honestly, if you're looking for a really affordable phone for more basic activities, and you want a decent display, a great battery, and a really good camera, then either phone is definitely worth considering. But this concludes my comparison between the Samsung Galaxy A04s and the Samsung Galaxy A13 5G. Again, if you want to learn more about either phone individually, definitely check out the description, where I am linking to several other videos about them, as well as some information about pricing, availability, and some of my favorite smartphone accessories. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it and found it useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to follow Kalipis Tech on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, I will see you in the next video.